One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on to his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hears battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, we are back and at it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves and having a fantastic, beautiful morning. It is a thirsty Thursday morning. It is the 9th of October. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves. We have a humongous news morning as it seems to be kind of the typical within the last, probably about the last month. It's been kind of nonstop. We actually are going to be doing a little record here. Usually, you know, we do our stories and the stories are usually anywhere from 5 to 7 stories, and even 7 stories is pushing it. But today we got 10 for you guys, so we're getting down with our bad selves today. We're going to do our absolute best, of course, to consolidate everything and put it into a single hour for you guys to know the important shit of what's happening around the world, and especially in our own country, right? Anyways, before we get into the madness, we got to get right through all of this. Real quick, I will tell you guys what the title is. We have Trump secures Israel-Hamas peace deal. That is the first phase, by the way. And then government shutdown day 9, as you guys know. And then there was the Palisades fire arrest that happened. The suspect that was supposedly the guy that started the Palisades fire has been arrested, and that happened yesterday, and we have that footage for you guys as well today. But the way that we have a lot of shit going on because of the Israel-Hamas peace deal, of course, there's going to be lots of discussion towards the end about that. But what we are going to be talking about first is the Florida man arrested in deadly 2025 Palisades fire in California. Then we have J.B. Pritzker, of course we do, responds to Trump and troops in Chicago. Then we have NOLA, N-O-L-A, prison escape. Inmate Derek Grove captured in Atlanta. I believe this was into the regards of the 10 people that escaped in Louisiana. And then, so I guess now that all of them that have escaped have now been captured, all of them. U.S. Marshals Derek Groves captured in Atlanta, like I just said. And then we have Trump, Israel, Hamas sign first deal or first phase of peace plan. And then Israel and Hamas agree on first phase of ceasefire deal. Hostages will be released, quote, very soon. That was as of 14 hours ago. Then we have Netanyahu responds after Trump announces Israel-Hamas peace deal. I'm very interested in how he responded. I have not seen how he's responded yet, for context. Then we also have reactions around the world of Israel and Hamas peace plan's announcement. Then we have smoke plumes in Gaza as Israel-Hamas peace deal begins. We got Israel that's already smoking them out over there for damn sure. I'm not really sure of what is happening, to be quite honest. I haven't watched it. And then last but not least, over there for the Israeli government, they come out and have an update. All hostages are to be released by Monday. So that is our lineup for the morning. Before we get into it, man, that's a huge lineup. Make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's absolutely free to do so, and it helps out the show. You know what I mean? If you guys are brand new to the show, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because it's also free. But please consider becoming a member starting only at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to do what we do here, and I can't thank you guys enough for keeping us on the air, and I'm very honored by being able to do what we do here, man. So thank you guys. Little side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. Also, we have a Discord server for everybody in the Insane Wheels family. Make sure you guys join up on that. Naomi will throw the link in the chat for you guys to join up. Make sure you guys do that. We're all in there. And if you guys are watching this on the playback, go down to the video description box down below for all the invite links and stuff like that for the Discord and other links, social media stuff. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted membership signups are, of course, going to be presented live onto the show and shouted out. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, well, then we have these platforms right here. Of course, you guys can donate to, and I will read them out like as if they're super chats, you know what I mean? So we got our email up, so if anything comes through, I will read it right away. Real quick, I want to thank Papa D coming in with the YouTube membership. He signed up this morning. I very much appreciate you, kind sir. Making that shit rain. I very much appreciate you, kind sir. Thank you for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna kind of get right into this. We got Bill Castle in the building. We got Naomi. We got Jimmy Mack, my man. We got Stephanie in the building, as well as Stray Jacket. He is alive, ladies and gentlemen. He is alive. Bill Castle over there from the West Coast, man. Always appreciate you hanging out with us. We got Sterling Wheel. Good morning, kind sir. Great to see you. We got Anson in the building, as well as brother Steve Easy, my man. Great to see you. We're making our scroll down. We got Mountain Woman and Path Killer. We got Briar Wolf in the building, as well as Wicked Wally. Good morning to you guys. I apologize. I'm trying to, if I skip any of you guys, I feel terrible about it, but we are trying to get our asses into gear here. We got Dean Savage over there saying, evening all from Israel. Great to see you, kind sir. Always appreciate you. We got Motobomb, by the way, rated the channel right before we started, so thank you, kind sir. Yes, sir. Very much appreciate you. And yes, the crazy coffee. I don't have a New Jersey accent. I can't do the coffee. It's a crazy coffee crew. You know what I mean? Shit. Always appreciate you guys, man. We got Warland in the building, as well as Glare 1%er. Thank you guys so much for being here. And we got Lily, saying he won't be alive for long. Hey, well. Oh, shit. What's up, Steve Posey? Good morning, kind sir. Great to see you guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting right into this. There's just a huge lineup this morning. Let's do this.
We are following some breaking news that we wanted to share with you. Take a look at this. This is from Fox News correspondent Matt Finn saying that sources tell Fox a person has been arrested in relation to the deadly and catastrophic Palisades fire. The suspect is believed to have maliciously started a fire that led to the Palisades fire. So we are expecting authorities.
Brother Sick Bastard as well, my man. Always appreciate you. Great show, by the way, the Coffee Crew.
To give us an update in just about 30 minutes or so, and we wanted to share another update from Matt Finn with you as we continue to follow this breaking news. A catastrophic and historic Palisades fire that destroyed 6,800 buildings and killed 12 people.
Now, remember, we reported everything that was going on during these Palisades fires, and not just the Palisades fires. There's other fires that were going on at the exact same time, and it was a radical ordeal, and it was unsettling to not figure out who started the shit. So I'm not really sure how they figured out this was the guy. Of course, he'll have his day in court, but I'm very interested to know what their evidence is that this guy did this. A Florida man going all the way to California and then starting the fire, and then getting away. I just don't know. I want to know the actual evidence.
Is expected at 9 a.m. Pacific time today. A major announcement.
What's up, Chris?
So that
Good morning.
is noon Eastern time. So
no
in
way.
Over 20 minutes or so, the Department
We got Chris in the building. Always appreciate you. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Great to see you in here, man.
Justice
Thank you.
hosting a press conference in downtown LA. Of course, we are efforting to get you that press conference as it happened. This is some file video
in
of
Canada.
the Palisades fire. As I wanted to share a little bit more with you, as federal officials and LA police are planning a news conference at
See, that part would make sense, Jimmy Mack. He used to live in California and then went to Florida to flee, right? That part makes sense.
noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific to announce a, quote, significant development related to the criminal investigation into last January's deadly Palisades fire. That fire began on January 7th. It killed 12 people, destroying more than 6,000 homes and buildings in the Pacific Palisades. Attending this news conference
I don't disagree with you, Brer Wolf.
will be
Sadly.
acting U.S. Attorney, LA Police Chief, a special agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. However, no details were provided ahead of
That's right. You guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. You guys don't have to like the craziness around the world, but you guys can like it for me and my takes and what we do here, man. So thank you guys.
time. Meanwhile, investigators still have not determined the cause of a blaze or the Eaton fire, which also started the very same day in the community of Altadena. That fire killed 18 people.
Yeah, and there was, like I said, there was multiple fires going on at the exact same time. And I don't think it was exactly 6,000 homes, but I do think it was 6,000 structures. However, they, gauge that. There's not really anything else out there in the Palisades that are anything else but houses. So I really don't know why they labeled it as only structures. I don't know if that they're counting when their shed burns up or something. I don't know if they're counting that as a structure. I have no idea.
People. So we did want to let you know that we are following some breaking news as authorities, including federal officials,
Brother TVT up there in Canada, always appreciate you. Good
are
morning.
expecting to announce a significant development related to the criminal investigation into last January's deadly Palisades fire. And according to Fox News correspondent,
I really just want to know who hired the motherfucker. Who hired him? That's really the problem.
Matt Finn, there has been an arrest. So we are continuing to keep a live look at all of these social media updates. And of course, when we get a live look into this news conference, we will be bringing that to you. So once again, this is the breaking news.
But that's so funny that they would say structures that way, Wally, when in Palisades over there, I mean, in California, there really isn't a whole bunch of non-residential buildings. It's pure residential buildings.
From Fox News correspondent Matt Finn, stating that sources are telling Fox that a person has been arrested in relation to the deadly and catastrophic Palisades fire. The suspect is believed to have maliciously started a fire that led to the Palisades fire. So,
wow, that's really interesting what Blair just said here. Homes and business plus property structures, including sheds, pool houses. That makes sense. Very interesting. All right, so we're going to move on into the next ordeal here. JB Pritzker over there for Illinois responds to Trump and troops in Chicago, quote, I won't back down. So let's go and bring this up and let's see the amount of cope that we get this morning.
I want to go now back out to Chicago. Governor J.B. Pritzker
Chicagoland.
to speak to the media in this news conference setting amid the ICE protests that we have been seeing and have escalated since the weekend. Let's listen in.
I'm stepping away. Step away from the microphones. Happy to take.
Yeah, please do step away from the fucking microphone.
Bruh.
The president's true social post this morning. Reaction to that, and have you had any conversations with the lieutenant governor about what were to happen if that were a possibility?
Look, he's a coward. He says a lot of things to the camera. He likes to pretend to be a tough guy. Come and get me. Come and get me.
You know, honestly, really, there isn't that much shit up there. You know, there's not a fuck ton of just corner stores and shit.
Are you concerned though with what we see happening with James Comey?
I mean, there is some, but not a lot. Or was.
Sure, and what kind of a country are we living in where the president of the United States is targeting his political opponents?
Not yet, TVT. That's going to be towards the second half of this show.
I mean, that is the world that we're living in now, where he is calling out. He said he was going to jail Gavin Newsom. He says he's going to jail me. He says he's going to jail the mayor of the city of Chicago. These are people who stand against him, disagree with him, speak out about it, but literally have done nothing wrong. We are doing the people's business by standing up for them.
Has there been any more communication with the Illinois National Guard on what those troops are going
You got these idiots in the background somewhere. Woo! Prickster!
to be doing, where there would be mustering or deploying or anything like that?
You know,
Look at homie over here. homie over here is like all infatuated. He's got his iPhone 3G out, and he's, you know, getting his little record on. Shit.
Regarding what troops are going to be doing, where they're going to be mustering or deployed or anything like that.
You know, I've said over and over again, the federal government has not communicated with our states in any way whatsoever about what their troop movements are going to be. I can't believe I have to say troop movements in a city in the United States, but that is what we're talking about. We're getting no information from them. They willy-nilly run over people's rights. They're pulling people out of their houses. They're asking them for proof of citizenship because they're brown or black. That is, I mean, a country that I don't think any of us should accept, and a president we should not accept.
Yeah, this guy is full of shit, by the way. Just saying. Just keep catering.
Chia. Right. Well, I know that, you know, reporters ask this question in part because you like me to say that we're going to
listen. Never back down from a fade.
Pull out weapons and protect. The reality is that we're going to hold people responsible in every way that we can. First thing we're doing is making sure people know their rights so that they don't get picked up and shouldn't.
Shit, what's up, Not Man? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. Great to see you.
And we want them, when they're afraid especially, we want them to be able to protect themselves. Second, we are making sure that people in the neighborhoods know that there are people they can call for help. Remember, there are young children who are going to school and not knowing if their parents are going to be home when they walk home. I went to an elementary school, third graders worried about whether they're going to come home to an empty home because ICE has come to take them away. And by the way, they take away not just undocumented people, they take away U.S. citizens and detain them. It's not right, and we all should be speaking out about it.
Dwayne, the sad reality is they do know. They do know what he is, well, meaning the president of the United States is capable and what his powers are. But they do, you got to remember, all this shit is political theater. They know this shit, but they're going to push their narrative no matter what. And that's something that I guess can be commendable about people that are just nonstop. But at the same time, it makes you look extremely delusional. And just because you keep saying it and reiterating something, this is what politicians do. They love saying and just repeating things. So eventually it just becomes true, which it's not. Obviously, so manipulation 101. And he is a clown TVT.
Look, we would enforce a judicial ruling. I mean, that you would think that the federal government and state government and local governments should be able to enforce a federal court's order. So that's why we went to court. This is a great country. This is a democracy still, although we have to keep it. And we all have to stand up for it. And so we're looking for the courts to do the right thing, and we will follow a court order.
Last one here.
All right, one of the last questions that are being asked, and then we're going to do our PSA for the morning.
This is unprecedented. As you said, the president calling for a more harassment there to arrest. What steps are you taking? Have you talked to the mayor about this and come to a joint front about how you'd like to react to?
Yes, Sterling, I forgot that we do blame our left-handed tobacco, our counterclockwise tobacco use on the left because they drive us insane. They drive me specifically insane, so I'm going to go ahead and indulge here. I rolled 2 joints that are sitting just nicely, or left-handed tobacco joints, obviously. So let's go ahead and get down with our bad selves real quick. I like that idea. Oh, now that feels good. All right, back to this. Magically, I feel
think
better.
I've reacted. You've heard me say a few things about this already. I mean, look, he's demented, literally, unhinged. And this is somebody who's so insecure that he lashes.
This guy is so full of cap.
Stop the cap.
I told you guys that we were going to see a huge amount of cope.
He's out pretending that he can come arrest people for no reason at all. He can't. He isn't going to do it. Taco. Trump always chickens out.
Taco? What does that mean? We got Tiffany Lance in the building, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday as well. Good morning. Good morning.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on into the next. But before we do have a little PSA for everybody.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Shit. All All right. Steve Posey says, I'm from Illinois and I can't stand this fat fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I can't imagine. Well, I mean, listen, I came from California. I have nowhere to speak on lame ass fucking governors. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think we all know the ordeal that's going on over there in California, right? It is a full-on embarrassment coming from me, that's where I came from, right? Just watching the way that they govern over there is it's embarrassing. Nonetheless, we're going to move on into the prison escape ordeal that happened down there in Louisiana. He got arrested yesterday, or maybe it was the night before. I can't really remember. But nonetheless, they have the story that came out yesterday about it. Inmate Derek Grove captured in Atlanta. And this was the last of the people that fled or got out, escaped from prison. I believe there was 10 of them or something like that, 9 or 10 of them. Well, this is the very last one, and they did actually get him and obtain him. So let's go ahead and bring that up for you guys, and I'll show you guys what we're talking about here. All right.
We were just monitoring some developing stories, including one out of Atlanta, a 5-month
in the
manhunt
ATO
coming to a close as police believe they have in custody the
Extra surprise. Good morning to you. Great to see you.
Individual there escaping from that Orleans parish as police capturing Derek Groves, the last fugitive from that jailbreak.
Real quick, we got our first victim of the day. We got our buddy Straight Jacket in the chat, by the way, sending $5 over on the Cash App, saying for Steve Easy and Glare ride mopeds on the weekend. Holy shit, saying Steve Easy and Glare ride mopeds on the weekend. Well, listen, I very much appreciate you, Straight, for making it rain in the Cash App, bro. Can't do this shit without your guys' support, so I appreciate that.
Inmates nearly 5 months ago. Let's take you out right now to New Orleans. They're providing an update here on this. We're also expecting one from Atlanta. Let's listen into this here on Live Now from Fox as we chronicle this story from the very beginning.
Sometimes there is no shade, Freddie. Sometimes.
Fix your damn audio, please.
Paul, what you got?
Can you talk a little bit about the arrest of Derek Grove this morning or this afternoon, a short while ago?
Sure, I can't get into the details on the ground because obviously I was not there, but...
Right, but if you're up here talking about this, you should have the details from the ground.
We have confirmed that escaped inmate Derek Groves was captured in Atlanta, Georgia, following a standoff in southwest Atlanta. After nearly 5 months on the run after escape from the Orleans Parish Justice Center on May 16th. I think across the board, whether you are a reporter or whether you are in law enforcement or whether you lived in the neighborhood where he wreaked havoc or whether you were a witness who was brave enough to come forward and testify against him, everybody's signing.
Yeah, are we not, man? I enjoy it, but hey, if you want to make something for me to use, you can always send that to me on my direct message on Discord. You can do that.
Collective sigh of relief, knowing that a person who was facing multiple life sentences is now in custody, and we look forward to holding him accountable for the crimes that he was already convicted of and the other crimes that he committed, Paul.
Can you talk about the partnerships that led to today's arrest?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you've got the Atlanta Police Department heavily involved.
What? How are you going to say Flow State is retarded, man? I actually really enjoy him and his takes. I mean, on a political, geopolitical level, economics level, I may not 100% agree with his takes, but I don't think he's retarded.
Working very closely with Brian Fair and the U.S. Marshal Service. The U.S. Marshal Service has just really gone above and beyond when we have multi-jurisdictional issues. There have been a number of cases in which they've weighed in quite heavily, working with the NOPD and all of our federal and state and local partners and Troop NOLA to try to find him when he was here. Obviously, they had a bit of a lead time in when that was reported to law enforcement partners and the press, and he was able to make good his escape for 5 months. But I think you may remember...
Brother Hardwire in the building. Great to see you, by the way. Happy Thursday morning to you.
Remember Brian Fair saying a number of times, Derek Groves has to get lucky every single time, and law enforcement has to get lucky once. And that happened today, thank God.
And the fact that all of these inmates were recovered, were taken into custody without any injury, one shot anyway.
You know, I think a lot of people were, let me speak for myself. I was deeply concerned that someone that had been convicted of a double homicide and was supposed to be in
Be safe out there, Brother Kel. Always appreciate you too.
Would not go easily. I was afraid that there would be loss of life, whether it be severe.
Yeah, I did see it, but I'm going to reserve my comments on here because that's not what my show's about.
Or law enforcement. And I don't think we thank Derek Groves for that. I think we thank God for that, that he was taken into custody without injury.
DA, if you could, I know this is sort of the very beginning. I mean, Derek Groves captured, that's one thing, but how did he get to Atlanta? And if he had any help along the way, that's something that investigators are going to be looking for.
Look, I'm not going to, I don't spend too much time on this because these folks are here to celebrate a monumental accomplishment for the city of New Orleans, just as this arrest was. Obviously, Chris, if you go to Atlanta later on today, you're going to have some help. Whether it's Uber driver, whether it's getting gas, whether it is catching a flight. He obviously had some help.
Man, TVT is saying that he can't see you still, Naomi. What's going on with that?
And there will be a thorough investigation to any and everybody that helped him along the way.
But do me a favor, TVT. Also, you make sure she double check. Make sure you just double check because I've accidentally banned people without even knowing. You know what I mean? So definitely go and check that.
In whatever parish and whatever county that assistance came.
What charging decisions do you have right now?
I don't want to address that at this point, Paul. It's a little too soon. But thank you all for being here today to focus on 31-1 Burgundy Street. We're standing here at what appeared to the public to be a retail business called Fashion. Today I stand...
What was it? I didn't hear it, like the mic cut out right when he said the name of the company.
Or appear to the public to be a retail business called Fashion.
Old Fashion? Is that what it is?
Today I stand with some really phenomenal partners to announce that this storefront was in fact a front for large-scale narcotics, sucking the life out of one of our more historic neighborhoods. The seizure that you see behind me is a result of an intensive, months-long, multi-jurisdictional investigation, and I believe it sends a very clear message that we will not tolerate criminal enterprises trying to operate in plain sight. This outcome, again, was a group lift. This is a product of sustained, coordinated work across local, state, and federal partnerships. And standing with me today, you've got on my left, District Seat Council.
In there to this here on Live Now from Fox as they're moving on to a different subject. But I do want to note just the culmination of this fact, a 5-month manhunt for ultimately
5 months. I remember when we reported on this. See, there's the 10 right there, all captured.
Leading to Derek Groves. You can see this from the Louisiana State Police saying a coordinated multi-agency, multi-state effort involving Crime Stoppers and marshals, FBI, others officials saying the 28-year-old Derek Groves, one of 10 inmates who escaped from Orleans Parish Prison on May 16th, was apprehended in Atlanta after a brief standoff. And, of course, Derek Groves, the final capture, the last fugitive from that New Orleans jailbreak involving 10 inmates. We saw the manhunt around New Orleans over those few months and ultimately going to Atlanta. This is a live picture on the screen. As you can see, some celebratory moods from U.S. Marshals, from police there on the ground there as this happened in Atlanta earlier on today. We're watching a SWAT scene unfold at a home, as U.S. Marshals says involved SWAT standoff at Delow Drive, Cedar Lane in Southwest Atlanta's witnesses told our Fox 5 team there that the standoff...
Right now, I'm trying to find a proper picture where I can show you guys how they escaped. I do have it here, but they've got a whole bunch of weird ones up here.
New Orleans jail in Maine to come out of the home. The crew on the scene reported that a man eventually walked out, taken into custody, matching Groves' description. Groves escaped from the Orleans Parish Justice Center on May 16, 2025, along with 9 other inmates in what became one of the Louisiana's most high-profile jailbreaks in decades. While most of the escapees were captured within weeks, Groves remained at large.
Right, he remained at large though for 5 fucking months. So real quick, I'm going to show you what that escape, how they escaped, if you guys haven't seen it already or know exactly what we're talking about. And maybe you've seen this picture before. This is the how they escaped here. And so they removed their fucking toilet, obviously, and that's the way that they were able to escape was through here. So pretty interesting shit. And then they actually write too easy, LOL. And then it says, I'm innocent, but the I'm is crossed out, and it says, we innocent. Suck my dick, OJC, and then an arrow, too easy, LOL. I really can't read what this black writing is, but anyways, All right, we're going to move into the next ordeal, though. U.S. Marshals Derek Groves captured in Atlanta. We just did that. And then Trump. All right, now we're going into Israel-Hamas signed first phase of the peace plan. Now, the way that this was being broken, we're going to do this in chronological order because we have quite a few things that we're going to be using today to present this. So I'm going to present this in a chronological order, that the way that it came out in the media and the way that it was broken. So first, we're going to start off with this. Then we'll move into regards to the hostages will be released, quote, very soon. And then Netanyahu responds after Trump announces Israel-Hamas peace deal. And then the world reacts to all of that. And we have all of that for you. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. Boom. Let's do it.
That President Trump is announcing the first phase of a ceasefire and peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. And so what I want to put up on your screen right now as we're continuing to talk is a live look there in the Gaza Strip. And so it's, as you can see, in the overnight hours, but this was posted on Truth Social just moments ago. He said, "I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and..."
Yeah, no, she sent it to me and it says 0 blocked users. So, I mean, she's not wrong.
"Everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America. And we thank the mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with us."
Almost a whole year, Carney. Isn't that fucking crazy how fast time flies? Appreciate you,
to
bro.
make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. Signed, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. And this is groundbreaking. I mean, we've been following this since, again, this initially broke out there, the conflict between Israel and Hamas happening there on October 7th with that surprise.
What's up, Beezer? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. Sorry, I'm just catching up now with the chat.
Attack that those on Hamas's side made there on several different areas in Israel. And we've been listening into hostage rallies, everything over the last 2 years, those pleading out for there to be released and some peace to be brought to this region, still taking this live look there in Gaza. So we've watched this camera even as attacks were actively happening, bringing you those images here on Live Now from Fox. And so we have the True Social.
Steve Posey's calling one of you guys out. We got 40 of you guys in the chat, actually 38 now, and 39 likes. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I very much appreciate that. But you guys definitely always win in the chat, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Up on your screen now, just so you're able to see a snippet. But if you're just now joining us here on Live Now from Fox, this is from President Trump himself saying that I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. And
I broke that news yesterday. I put it on this YouTube channel, Insane Wheels. I put it on the whatever posts that you can do. So I posted it, and then I put it in Discord as well.
This is a conversation that many thought that may happen. Of course, we know that earlier this week, Steve Witkoff, he's the special envoy to the Middle East, was heading there to have discussions about making this come to a close. In fact, we just reported to you. I'm going to put this up on your screen as well. This is from Caroline Levitt. She was talking about the fact that President Trump was going to be visiting Walter Reed Medical Center for a planned...
Yeah, the only time that you can actually say fuck is when you are a moderator in someone's chat. That's really the only time you can do it without getting, that comment hidden before even the creator sees it.
Meeting and remarks over the troops. But while he was there, the president is set to stop by for his routine yearly checkup. It's important because this next statement that Caroline Levitt released there from the White House saying that he will then...
Abe Dinkus in the building. Great to see you in the chat, man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday morning so far.
Return to the White House. President Trump is considering going to the Middle East shortly thereafter. This, to me, indicates that maybe this was already possibly on the table and that the president knew that he needed to get this checkup before eventually going there. There were reports out that he could be there as soon as Sunday. And so, again, this is breaking news just coming into our newsroom. President Trump now saying that Israel and Hamas have agreed to sign.
Real quick, we got Wolfheim in the building. Always appreciate my Swedish brother in the building. We got Stephanie that became a member. Also, I very much appreciate you. Thank you for that. Making it rain in this bitch. Very much appreciate you. Thank you for that. goes a long way.
The first phase of a Gaza deal. And so we're going to continue to stay right here with you on Live Now from Fox. We're not going to go away for any commercial breaks, but continue to really just dive into what this potentially means as we are now moving forward. And so this, again, and with work
TVT's got through. Isn't that fucking so strange how it works like that?
Covering all of this, we've seen the protest on both sides, folks speaking out everywhere about whether or not and how their feelings are towards the war, because it's tied to so many people individually. Showing you once again this live vantage point that we have there in the Gaza Strip. We've been hearing reports on all sides about how things are going on, but again, the Associated Press just starting to put out some more information there. Again, we know that Trump has made this announcement on his
I think maybe it's in context, by the way. Maybe it's not fuck itself that's getting banned, but in context, like let's say you're saying fuck Africa or something. I don't know. When you put shit into context, maybe that's when YouTube don't like it. You know what I mean? We got Wolfheim in the building saying for 27 Swedish crowns, by the way, saying, you know what time it is? Yes, sir, I definitely do. I very much do, man. Here we go.
Emotional, damn it.
Feels ultra good to be a G. Hopefully you are enjoying your evening. For you, it's like 18:30. So very much appreciate having you all the way from over there hanging out with us.
Social site saying this is the first phase. And so right now we don't have any details about what that means. And ultimately, those are the questions that are going to continue to be asked in the coming days and weeks. And so hopefully even in the next few hours or so, that information will continue to come to us and we'll bring it to you here on Live Now from Fox. But this is major. Hamas and Israel agreeing to form the first phase of a deal.
Yeah. And so now we're going to go ahead and exit out of that because that was the breaking news yesterday when that happened. Now let's go ahead and bring this up for you guys. 3, 2, 1. There we go.
I want to bring on John Hanna. He is the Randy and Charles Wax Senior Fellow at GENSA's Center for Defense and Strategy. Of course, we know that John has a very extensive history. I'm going to read off a little bit of his background just so you're able to understand. He served as a senior foreign policy position for both Democratic.
Shit. What's up, Mark? And by the way, we got Glare that is saying, that is, by the way, just so you know, that is Anson. Don't let him fool you.
Republican administrations, including as the former Vice President Dick Cheney's national security advisor from 2005 to 2009. And so, John, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I mean, this is a historic announcement that was just made about 10 to 15 minutes or so ago from President Trump, from his Truth Social, saying that Israel and Hamas have now agreed to sign that first phase of a peace deal. Initially, what are some of your reactions to this? How did we get to this point?
Well, first, just unbelievable relief, obviously, for those poor hostages that have been stuck now for 2 full years and a day in those terror tunnels underground. That they'll be finally having some relief and their families is just absolutely huge for Israel. Everybody, as long as those hostages were stuck there, it was still October 7th for every single Israelis. And to be able to get those hostages back will have a huge healing effect on Israel. And it looks like, I think, this is the crucial step toward ending this war.
Well, yeah, no kidding, by the way, with this dude, what he's saying here, of course, this is the closest it's been since before October 7th. That's for damn sure. It's probably the closest it's ever been to some sort of an actual deal here.
Better or worse, because Hamas, remember, still exists and hasn't yet agreed to disarm. That's being left to future negotiations. But my guess is that Hamas has cashed in the only chips it has, all of its leverage, because it's gotten some pretty firm assurances, not only from these Arab states, who for the first time have come together and said to the president, we're prepared to help you end this war and to put our full power and influence behind it. And you've got a president of the United States who's prepared to give that kind of guarantee to Hamas as well to get these hostages back. But this is now going to be the end of this war. And we're going to leave everything else on the 20-point peace plan for future ongoing negotiations. But it's even if this is the only step we achieve, it is a huge diplomatic accomplishment for the.
Exactly. Hence why I call you Stephanie. And everyone sits there. No one catches what I say every time I do that. But ironically, everyone's like, what's up, Steven? I'm like, what's up, Stephanie? How you doing?
President of the United States.
And we have another vantage point as well, again, showing you this live look there of the Gaza skyline, a shot we've shown so many times over the last 2 years. Putting this up on the screen, this is that same Truth Social post. I want to read it out for you, John, and I would like you to kind of react to some of the things that stand out to you. So I might pause at certain points if you're able to jump in and sort of explain maybe why that verbiage was used from the president, why this was a certain message that was sent out. And so starting here, it says, I am very proud to...
Real quick, I got to take a leak, but man, I gotta continue this. I'm going to be listening while I do this. Real quick,
Israel and Hamas
1 sec.
have been both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. I want to point out there, he said that all of the hostages. Now, there's been a lot of concern and conversation about the hostages. Maybe some of them aren't still alive at this point. Can you sort of speak to that and what that still could possibly mean for those families?
Sure. We've got something, the count is, depending on who's speaking, somewhere between 45 and 48 hostages still being held by Hamas. Of those, about 20 are believed to be living still, the rest dead. I believe Hamas knows where all 20 living hostages are. There has been a question about those hostages who have been deceased over the course of the past several months, whether or not Hamas and maybe some of the other Palestinian extremist groups that have been holding hostages, where those people are buried, what parts of Gaza, does Hamas still have access to those parts of Gaza? Were the people who buried them, have they been killed, those members of Hamas? So there still seem to have been some last minute questions about exactly how many of the dead hostages Hamas can deliver. So we'll still have to see. The one other obviously crucial part of this is that in exchange for these dead and living hostages, Hamas will receive something close to 2,000 Palestinian prisoners being held in Israeli jails, including about 250 really hardcore terrorists with massive amounts of Israeli and international blood on their hands, which is going to be very, very difficult for Israel.
Hey, look who visited us. We got a little visitor. What are you doing? What are you up to? Here, let me move the camera a little bit. There you go. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? What you up to? All right. Hang out up there if you want. All right, we're back to action.
Because the assumption always has to be that a lot of those people, one way or another, are going to return to the fight.
And so I'm glad you were able to break that down for us, especially as it pertains to the amount of potentially alive versus potentially deceased hostages. We've been watching those rallies. They're held every single week. Families just with bleeding hearts asking for their loved ones to be returned, truly in whatever form that it's possible. And so I want to move on to the next statement there in the Truth Social post. So I'm going to read it out for you here. It does say that as well, all parties were treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the
Yep, it sure is, by the way.
United States of America. When we're talking about saying that all parties were treated fairly, is that portion what you're talking about some of the release of those Palestinian prisoners?
I think it's the Palestinian prisoners, certainly. But I do, I continue to wonder, Christina, maybe because I'm just so jaded at that about Hamas's
Shit. All right, we'll see you on the flip side, Anson. That's super funny.
Willingness in
Appreciate
exchange
you,
for
as
nothing
always.
else than Palestinian.
And we got Joseph up there, our favorite snow Mexican, by the way. Our Canadian friend, Joseph, always appreciate you hanging out with us. He says, can't forget the haters, stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
I got you, homie.
Prisoners to surrender what really is its only remaining insurance policy and leverage that Israel, once these hostages are back in Israeli hands, then it'll be a green light for Israel to continue the war and to kill Hamas to the every last fighter. It's hard for me to believe that Hamas has made that deal and there isn't some kind of private agreement between those Arab states that have backed this deal, that have pressured Hamas to give up these hostages now, and the president of the United States, that they are all basically agreed with these hostages back. Now the war needs to end, and everything else in the Trump 20-point plan, including the disarmament of Hamas, the emergence of a new Palestinian technical government in Gaza.
All right, so very interesting. We're going to bring up now. I got to see what Netanyahu says about this, because I guess he does respond somewhere in this long video. We're not going to play the whole damn thing. We're going to kind of skip where, you know, he supposedly says something. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we're going to kind of skip through. I definitely want to hear this guy's this guy right here. he is a pro at dealing with or understanding how all of the Middle East works, specifically Israel and Hamas. This guy has been on top of the game for like a year and a half, probably longer, but he's been doing a very fucking good job the last like 6 months on this whole ordeal.
It's looking like we, in fact, cannot hear you. I believe we can hear you now alone. Hey, your guess is as good.
Look, it is definitely one of the biggest news days when it comes to understanding what is happening in the war and where things are going. It is not yet at the point where we can say that this is the beginning of, Francis Fukuyama said, the end of history when the Soviet Union fell. This is not necessarily going to be that, whether we're looking at the end of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or even the end of the war right now. A lot of sides are talking about what is going to happen, and it is very, very clear that there's been a major leap forward with regards to a truce between the sides, the release of hostages, the release of Palestinian prisoners, and what everyone is calling the first phase of the deal. But that said, what I have been trying to scramble over the last several hours is to figure out what it actually has been signed with regards to later on. Everyone's talking about the first phase. The first phase theoretically is supposed to be over in a week. What happens next? Everyone is very optimistic at this moment, but 24 hours ago, everyone was very pessimistic. So it's definitely a monumental news day with regards to things moving forward. And I hope that the optimism can continue into next week. But at this point, I'm still trying to scramble for information to see what actually is going to happen next week, to see is that optimism warranted.
Let's say somebody has cautious optimism about this. What are the chief reasons why somebody would have cautious optimism tonight?
That's actually a very, very good question. And I'm interested to see how Alon responds to this. Yeah, because these motherfuckers always are the ones that fuck up their side of the deal. They fuck up the deal every time. Negotiating with terrorists suck. Yeah, it does, but it is a necessary thing. In different cases, such as this, you hope for both sides to hold their end of the bargain. You're agreeing to something, but ironically, it's been historically proven that these motherfuckers are not very, you can't really take them for their word, right?
So there's a couple of things to look at. You can have optimism over what has happened, first of all, depending on what you're focusing on, and second of all, even long term. If you're focusing on the release of hostages, which is one of the truly main facets of the war, main facets that has driven Israel to continue the war, far from the only one, but main facets that have driven Israel to continue the war. And one of the things that has really touched on people's human side. We have seen different people around the world react, whether they are very critical of Israel or very supportive of Israel. The hostage situation, hostages in general, I have to say, is one of the things that touch upon people. Very few people know about what's happening in Nigeria or Boko Haram. Everyone knew when those girls were kidnapped by Boko Haram. Hostages is one of the things that tends to touch people around the world, not just in relation to Israel, in general, also ISIS and etc. So with regard to the hostages, this is one of the days to be truly optimistic. Again, I will be fully optimistic and say this has happened when actually the sides publish the deal that has been signed. What all sides are saying, though, is that the 20 live hostages are due to be released by Saturday or Sunday, i.e. in the...
But we do have the update that the Israeli government came out with this morning saying that it will be Monday.
Coming days. That is a true reason for optimism. At the same time, Palestinian prisoners are due to be released, whether you are in support of an Israeli or Palestinian side. A lot of these Palestinian prisoners have been found guilty of mass atrocities of terrorism. However, a lot of them also are arrested in the Gaza Strip on suspicion and other things. A lot of people would also be optimistic that that may curry favor with the Palestinian side towards possibly a de-radicalization or de-escalation. A lot of people would disagree with that. Either way, I'm saying if you're focused on the Palestinian side of prisoners or the Israeli side of hostages, there is reason for optimism. There's also reason for optimism with regard to the ongoing fighting. Israel has agreed to withdraw from where it is, its current positions in Gaza. It has not been published to where exactly. That is one of the big glaring questions for me as someone who follows the war, I would say daily, I would actually say hourly, and tries to understand where fighting is happening. I cannot tell you accurately where these...
All right, so I want to see now what Netanyahu, I guess Netanyahu comes out with a statement or some sort of response. We're gonna look for it right now because this is a long, drawn out ordeal when they broke this yesterday. But I know somewhere in here, supposedly, there we go. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just spoke with the U.S. President Donald Trump. The two held a very emotional and warm conversation, congratulating each other on the historic achievement of signing the agreement for the release of all the hostages. The Prime Minister thanked President Trump for all his efforts and for his global leadership, and President Trump congratulated the Prime Minister for his determined leadership and the actions he led. The two agreed to continue their close cooperation. In addition, the Prime Minister invited President Trump to address the, and I don't know how to say that word, so I'm not even going to fucking try. You guys in the chat can let me know how to do it. But real quick, I do want to hear what he has to say regarding this.
Led. The two agreed to continue their close cooperation. And this is the last part I want to.
Oh, he's going to say it, so I'll know now.
In addition, the Prime Minister invited President Trump to address the Knesset, explain
Knesset.
to our American and largely international audience what the significance of being
Be safe out there,
invited to address the Knesset is.
So I'll start from saying that the Knesset is Israel's parliament. The Israeli government does not have an upper house and
it's their parliament. Gotcha.
lower house, so there's no Senate and Congress. There's just the Knesset, just parliament. So when you are invited publicly to address the Knesset, usually that's a very, very monumental event. That means it's not only a state visit where you come and meet the state leaders, the prime minister, the president in a sort of ceremonial role, the leader of the opposition, but that means that all of parliament, which is in essence all of the country's representatives, are essentially required to come to parliament and listen.
Yeah, there's no there's no celebration needed until these fucking hostages get released. That's the truth. You're right about that.
Major forum. Israel's a small country. When a big event happens in the capital, like a leader coming to the parliament, that is going to be something that essentially shuts down the country. That essentially gets everyone, 100% of the country will be listening to what the US president is saying. Historically, there's been a series of different leaders that have been invited to speak in the Knesset, but not everyone. Not everyone is invited. It's not as though whenever a leader comes to Israel, they automatically speak at the Knesset. It is considered an honor. Yeah. It's not something that's just taken for granted as part of a state visit. And it is considered something where you are invited by the country to come and address the country. It's not that you're going to have a press conference. You are addressing the nation. It's almost tantamount to a State of the Union, but it's actually done by a foreign leader. So that is very significant. With that, I'll say, officially, an invitation has to be extended. And thus, that message was put out that Prime Minister Netanyahu invited President Trump. I would argue that the trajectory there was reversed. All day, the White House was saying Trump is considering going to the Middle East. Trump is considering going to Israel. Trump is considering going to meet the hostages that are released. And then the Israeli Prime Minister put out a message hours later saying, I've invited Trump to come speak in the Knesset. I'm not saying that what Netanyahu said is not genuine, but I'm saying that the idea that Trump wants to be there standing on the Knesset and be the one to usher in this new era of no more living hostages in Gaza, this possibly new era of an end to the war, and possibly new era, as far as Trump is seeing it, as even a regional peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
Right. Which, real peace, will it ever be achieved? Honestly, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have my hopes for that. Not going to waste that kind of hope on that. But it would be nice. It would be definitely nice to see some sort of peace over there in the Middle East for real. Of course, but is it realistic? We'll see. We'll see. And I hope that ultimately, I just want the hostages and the death to fucking stop, obviously. But you know how this shit goes. All right. That's politics, isn't it? Anyways, reaction to Israel and Hamas peace plan announcement. I'm not sure who's reacting here. I'm sure it's going to be like different, leaders across, whatever. Yeah, so they're just showing off a couple more different things. So we may not even need to play this. Yep. So Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, unofficial translation from Hebrew below. A great day for Israel. Tomorrow I will convene the government to approve the agreement and bring all our beloved hostages home. I extend my gratitude to the brave IDF soldiers and all the security forces whose courage and sacrifice have brought us to this day. I offer my heartfelt thanks to President Trump and his team for their dedication to this sacred mission of freeing our hostages. With God's help, together we will continue to achieve all of our goals and enhance peace with our neighbors. Wow. All right, let's make sure that there was no more statements that Netanyahu came out with. It does not look like it. Okay, perfect. So we're going to move into the next ordeal. Smoke plumes in Gaza as Israel-Hamas peace deals begin. So let's go ahead and figure out what's happening this morning because this is 4 hours ago. Let's go ahead, and this is why I had to do everything in chronological order and not present this first, because that would be unfair to the storyboard, right? Anyways, here we go.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox as we continue to follow the latest developments when it comes to Israel and Hamas signing the first phase of the Gaza deal. And we have several live images coming in around the world, this one coming out of Gaza. And I want to bring up also a social media post here from the White House. It says this, quoting President Trump, "I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. Blessed are the peacemakers." Joining us now to discuss this is Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson, and he's going to be joining us here to break down everything that happened. So, Lucas, tell me, how did that all go down?
Well, Corral, it's great to join you this morning. Can't overstate this. This is an historic breakthrough in the Middle East. And for the last 2 years, we've seen intense fighting in Gaza. We've seen hostages taken on October 7th. And now the 20 or so remaining hostages that are alive in Gaza are set to be returned to their families on Monday. President Trump says he's going to be traveling to the region. Certainly the big breakthrough, President Trump sending his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to Egypt, to Sharm el-Sheikh. That's the resort on the Red Sea, meeting with not only officials from Hamas, but Qatar as well. Really, it's not it wasn't one thing that led to the breakthrough. It was really, you could argue, Israel dismantling Hamas over these past 2 years. Also, Hezbollah led to regime change in Syria, as well as Israel destroying Hezbollah in Lebanon as well. Don't forget, President Trump also credited the U.S. airstrikes against Iran's nuclear facilities back in June, the weakening of Iran, severing their ties to the Mediterranean after the Assad regime fell. Also, Israel striking Hamas leaders, or attempting to at least, in Qatar. That's certainly...
Right. No, he's right about all this, but I definitely want to see what the smoke plumes are about. So I let him ramble. I let him do his little woman prattle right there, but your time has come to a close there, kind sir. Let's go ahead and figure out what's happening
here. To this moment, but President Trump and his team deserve a lot of the credit. Did not appear that President Trump was ever going through the motions. He was heavily invested in peace in Gaza, and he was...
Okay, yeah, we know that, but we're trying to figure out what this smoke plume is.
The Middle East, and we're trying to figure out exactly what's happening on the ground. I'm not sure if you're privy to any of that, whether the fighting has stopped at this moment or things are kind of continuing until officially we begin that hostage exchange. What do you know about that?
Officials say the ceasefire is going to begin after the Israeli parliament approves this deal, which actually was at about 5 a.m. Eastern time. So the ceasefire should be in effect starting right now. And part of phase one is the Israeli forces pulling back from the frontline positions in Gaza. Some of those forces will remain in Gaza. One of the big sticking points...
Right, but there's some big-ass smoke plume they're trying to figure out. Lucas keeps deviating.
Looking ahead to a larger peace deal, Corral, is will Hamas disarm? Will they leave?
Yeah. Well, these are all the questions that yes, of course, we bear these questions.
Hostages coming home. You can only imagine what it's like.
Oh, my goodness. This guy just prattles. Trying to see if they ever explain it. They do not. Let's see if they have it in the description. This morning, we are seeing smoke plumes out of Gaza despite Israel and Hamas agreeing to the first phase of President Donald Trump's peace plan to pause fighting and release the remaining hostages held in Gaza, including the bodies of hostages starting Sunday. Interesting. All right. Now the Israeli government comes out. This is one of our final stories here. The Israeli government comes out and gives an update. All hostages are to be released Monday.
Tonight at 5 p.m. Israel time, there will be a cabinet meeting. And at 6 p.m. Israel time, there will be a government meeting taking place. Now, within 24 hours after the cabinet meeting takes place, a ceasefire will then begin in Gaza. The IDF will then redeploy to the yellow line.
And this came out, by the way, 2 hours ago.
As shown on maps, which have been widely distributed at this point in time. And now after this 24-hour period, the 72-hour time window will then begin, where all of our hostages will be released back into Israel. Now, the final draft of phase one was signed this morning in Egypt by all parties to release all of the hostages. And the IDF will then redeploy to that yellow line we mentioned, which will lead to the military controlling and holding about 53% of the Gaza Strip. Now, phase one stands very clear. All of our hostages, the living and deceased, will be released 72 hours later, which will bring us just Monday. Israel is preparing to receive our hostages in all conditions they may be in. This comes with the help from specialists and all main hospitals in Israel. They are ready with robust procedures that are in place. Israel is anticipating the handover of our hostages to be conducted with respect and decorum from Hamas, and will have no tolerance for our hostages to be paraded around like we have seen in the past. Hostages will then be transferred into the hands of specialized IDF forces. The great relationship between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump is reflected in this plan, and we could not have reached this point without the magnificent relationship between the two of them. Everything between Washington and Jerusalem was in full coordination with each other, which was a strategy envisioned by the Prime Minister. And that's the end of our briefing today. Please put some of your questions in the chat right now so I can answer them as we go.
Jewy brows. That shit's funny, bro. Let's see if she gets some questions here.
Has Hamas also signed it? I just mentioned in the briefing that the plan has been finalized this morning in Egypt. When will the ceasefire then come into effect? It will come into effect, of course, after the 24 hours take place that we discussed, after those meetings take place later this evening.
What's up, Morbik? Good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday morning so far.
Has Israel agreed or refused to release Palestinian prisoner Marwan Barghouti? I can tell you at this point in time that he will not be part of this release.
Yeah, her brows are about as thick as mine. Shit.
Question from an independent broadcast journalist I'm receiving about the 250 prisoners serving life sentences. In terms of that, it's a very difficult thing that Israel has to do. Many of these terrorists who are being released are convicted terrorists who have blood on their hands for murdering innocent Israelis. So from the Washington Post, could you please clarify the timeline for the coming days? So I did. You can rewind in this briefing. We discussed the meetings that will be taking place tonight, in addition to the timeline of the 24 hours and then the 72-hour window that will then go into effect.
Hell yeah, fuck around, find out. Appreciate you, bro. With that, make sure you guys hit that like button while she is looking for a question in the chat that she has over there.
Many of these questions are about the timeline. So, like I reiterated, please go back into the briefing and make sure you're hearing the timeline very clearly as what I stated. Meetings taking place, then the 24 hours and the 72-hour window will then go into effect. In terms of the list of prisoners being finalized, we will have some more information that will be coming out later about that during the day.
And this is not much longer, by the way. This is a very quick briefing that they do here. Looks like she may take maybe 2 more questions.
Someone asked, as journalists, are we allowed to go into Gaza freely now? Journalists have always been allowed into Gaza. I think journalists actually really need to recognize how dangerous the Gaza Strip is. There are homes, there are roads that are completely booby-trapped with explosives by a terrorist.
Ironically, you can go into Gaza as a, as the press and all that shit, but you can't do it in Israel. What the fuck is up with that shit?
Organization that is inside of the Gaza Strip at this point in time. We've continued to get this question.
But they did just change that in Israel, by the way. In all transparency, they did just change that in a couple of different ways.
And the answer is yes, journalists are absolutely allowed inside of the Gaza Strip, but you have to understand the risk that comes with it. Let me just take a few more questions. From the Independent, what will the timeline be for aid delivery into the Gaza Strip? Let's get something very clear. Aid has always been going into the Gaza Strip from the beginning of this war until...
It only stopped when the UN stopped giving it out.
Till now. And of course, it has increased significantly in the last few weeks. Israel is committed to bringing humanitarian aid in. The problem is Hamas. Will this aid actually reach these populations that need it the most? You should ask Hamas that question.
Fair.
That was released. President Trump also released it as well, that yellow line where Israel will be pulling out to.
All right. And so that's pretty much exactly what we needed there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for the amount of support contributions to the channel, whether that be financially or you guys being here and engaging in the content, man. I'm very appreciative of all of you guys. Thank you for making it exactly what this show is, man. I'm very appreciative. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We're going to be sending you guys off to our buddy Chatting with Stacks, so make sure you stick around for the raid and let them know that we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. And before we do send you guys off, make sure you guys also hit that like button. Definitely goes a long freaking way. But we got 10 fucking entire stories, well, essentially breakdowns. Some are about the same story, but, there's a chronological timeline to this shit as it breaks, and I have to give you guys from the beginning of how it breaks to how it ends, right? Or in current time. Anyways, with that being said, thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Until then, God bless everyone, and be safe out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.